Not very savvy.
So good. But yeah, well, let's hop into it. Guys, we'll have, availability to grab questions or comments, that kind of stuff. So as we unfold our conversation today, like just ping us, let us know what you're thinking, and we can discuss it. But Lisa, if you want to take it away, we're talking about heart-centered living and refilling your cup. Subtitle, if you will, how to navigate any storm, your self-care and your universal toolkit.
Yes. So I just want to say hello to everybody. Hope you're doing well during this crisis we've got going on right now. But, Aubrey and I got together and we thought that this was so timely to have this conversation about, heart-centered living. And what is that? Is that something that, that you're incorporating each day? Or is it still kind of a little bit of a crisis going on? What's happening in your world? And we need to understand that, life sometimes throws us these curveballs, right? And how are we navigating this storm? We've got several things going on right now. We've got that, we've got the virus going on, okay? But then there's something that we can, have in our minds too as well, like a virus, and fear. And how is that enabling our perspective, our actions, our wisdom, our guidance right now? And is it altering the direction of, where we're navigating? It's, the world has taken a nightmare pill. And, we're living off that vibration right now. So what are you feeling amidst this chaos? And what kind of vibration? Is it peaceful? Is it feeling good? Are you feeling uneasy right now? And, and that's the worst case scenario. But the most amazing thing that's happening right now, and we have to understand this too, is that there's also something else coming in, and it's a higher perspective. We're in a deep cleansing right now, the whole world, everyone, and it's kind of thrown things topsy-turvy. So what we did was we came up with an amazing outline of talking about that fear and the changes that you see going on right now in the world. Understanding that we need to fill that cup first, our own cup, and be that change. Like Gandhi said, be the change you want to see in the world. And just, I want to be comfortable in my own skin. I don't want to be, just, helter-skelter right now with everything. And I want to still have that compassion, not just for myself, but for others, and not get upset when they are in a different vibration than I am right now, and bring in that heart-centered living. And it's all about the little biteable steps, and I love that analogy. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. And that's what we're going to be talking about today.
Yeah. Yeah. Beautiful. And it allows us to give space for everyone else's experiences and what they are experiencing right now. Whenever we're coming from a place of fullness and, hey, okay, I at least understand how to run this ship,
Yes.
And I can navigate. Then, if all of this is okay internally and vibrationally and energetically, then I have space and an empowered spirit to be able to give space to all of the other perspectives and anything else that's going on out there, and particularly, going back to COVID is, I was actually reading up on and watching videos recently that so much anxiety has come out of the pandemic.
Yeah.
around, oh gosh, am I going to get sick, or my loved one's going to get sick? And if so, what happens? And, can I do this? Can I do that? And things are reopening. So like that collective level of anxiety is still elevated for sure. But another thing that I hadn't even considered is that symptoms of anxiety are very much like symptoms of COVID as well. Yes. The heaviness of the chest, unable to breathe, the all of like, oh, yeah. So taming our anxieties and again, coming back to just like that refilling your cup, that taking care of yourself, making sure that you're doing that, I think is just absolutely a vital conversation to have. So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, all of this, it's really understanding how to turn a threat into an opportunity. Mm-hmm. And how many of us are seeing that with what's going on right now? It's probably not in our purview. But it's a key component to finding renewal every day. And like you said, that anxiety that I keep going there because I'm concerned now about the future. Mm-hmm. Versus the past. We tend to bring the past forward and all of the stuff, the emotions and the events and, well, this is what happened to me, so this is probably what's going to happen to me again in the future. No, it's looking at each day is it's a new opportunity. Mm-hmm. And looking at this present moment or this present moment awareness. When life becomes, too demanding, we face these serious challenges. It's easy to see invisible threats everywhere. You just feel that lack of loss and control, right? So how many of us are trying to control this and we're upset that we can't? Well, we can't control this. It's unpredictable. It's unprecedented. And you don't want to be trapped in that unfilling existence. And it's really strange that humans, are the hardest to be happy. And, quite often we're just not very good at that, or changing our attitude. And taking those threats and transforming them to healing opportunities.
Mm-hmm. My apology. My puppy is digging at the rug. So I need to grab her really quick. But I do have a thought to say about that came to mind, Lisa. All right, here we go.
Oh, somebody's not being very good.
I'm just going to chime in for a minute. Everyone, this is Dagny. She's 4 months old.
You can't see her puppy on Instagram, but she has a beautiful puppy, by the way. Sorry.
I once heard a preacher talk about this. It was a number of years ago, but he gave an analogy of baggage versus luggage. Mm-hmm. And this goes into, like what you were talking about with dragging the past or past experiences into the future. So, you're going to Florida, right, for the week, and you think about it right now. I mean, at really any time of year, you're not going to be packing your parka. Let's say you're from the north, you're from New York, and you want to go down to Florida for the week. It would be bad baggage to take your parka that you needed at that point, right? And all of your cold weather stuff with you. Rather, you want to pack luggage. You want to pack appropriately, for the future. So
yes. Yes.
I love that analogy.
It's a great analogy. Or just have the bag ready. I'm not sure what to put in it. That's okay. Don't worry about that right now, about what you're putting in the bag. Because it's all gonna work out. It's gonna be okay. This may have just diminished our perspective right now, and that's why it's so important to have these tools, because they're going to bring us back to present moment awareness. Okay, because there's the past is the past, the future hasn't happened yet. So what we need to do is take these tools so that we can create that calmness, and really cool down. It was really interesting. Everything is kind of I don't know, fell into place lately with what I'm doing, and I was listening to this meditation, and it talked about, the coolness, and that that's what we need to be looking at right now, how to cool this body down.
Mm.
Because what we've got going on right now is inflammation.
Mm.
Yeah, so how do I cool down this inflammation I've got going on in my body? And what is this all about? It's about not being in that fight or flight state. And well, how do I do that? Well, they're calming foods that can help us to calm down. They're cooling to the body. When we're running hot, there is inflammation. Okay, so we've shifted from a calming state, a parasympathetic state, into a sympathetic state, and we use different hormones in that state.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so in the parasympathetic, you've got the oxytocin. By the way, that's the hug hormone, which we really can't do right now. You can hug yourself for certain. You could hug your animals like you're doing, right? Mm-hmm. And that's creating that feel-good hormone. The serotonin, the melatonin, those are all parasympathetic hormones. And when we're in this sympathetic state, or this fight or flight, we are not in a healing state at all. There's no way the body can heal in this state, because what's happening is we're secreting adrenaline and cortisol and epinephrine. So how can I go about calming that down? Well, first of all, I can look at the foods that I'm eating, and are they anti-inflammatory foods? And you can Google this. But it's real simple. It's like your fruits and vegetables. It's your greens, your romaine lettuce. It's kale. All of these are cooling down the body, all right? So that it's not, and there's a difference between warm and hot. You want to maybe get up every morning and do the lemon water, not cold. Again, that shocks the system. You want to, bring something in like the room temperature water. Mm-hmm. And that helps to cool the body down. You want to do meditation maybe first thing. Maybe you brought in yesterday and today. You brought it into today. You never left today. You went to sleep, but you brought all those worries and anxieties and fears from yesterday. You brought it into today. So maybe do some meditation to recalibrate that mind state, that awareness state.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, this really goes into, so we were talking about when we were creating this outline, is that there's four, like let's say there's a surface that we want to create, and it has 4 stable legs on it, right? And so what do we want to create as all, like, a universal human desire, that we all probably want, right? So peace, love, joy, all of the good feelings, all of the higher vibrational feelings.
Yes.
And then, number one, and this is kind of really what you're getting into, Lisa, is that self-care of, resting, recovering. And this comes from a previous Zoom talk that we did, recalibrating and rebuilding.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You've got to have a foundation first. So, and the foundation are your universal tools that we're talking about. Mm-hmm. Number one, that self-care that we've gotten into just a tiny bit, rest and sleep. Mm-hmm. And how is that? I mean, because, and then I get that little snippiness come back. And I would always say that if a student came back in my class at University of Richmond and was snipping at me like that, they were my poster child for who did not get sleep last night, or maybe the night before, or the night before that, right? And I have to come at it with compassion, okay? And that's when we have to dig deep. Well, they're being really snippy to me right now, okay? I could think of other words, but again, word choices, I'm going to choose a different word here. Snippy. That's not too confrontational. So I'm going to come at them with compassion and listen to them. We have one mouth, 2 ears. How many times have we heard that? And I'm going to listen to them. And you didn't get the sleep you wanted. I'm so sorry. What's going on? Maybe I have some resources, tools. Maybe I know someone that can help you with that. Huh? Wink, wink, wink. Someone that teaches sleep. And she can help you create what we call a somnogenic environment or sleep enhancing. Okay. I'm listening to maybe some meditation or some great calming music before I go to bed. I didn't eat my dinner too late, I had two little things to remember. After 8 is too late and dine before 9, because you don't want to still be digesting your food when you're trying to go to sleep.
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've been having that conversation recently with some of our clients.
Yeah. It's so important.
Not sleeping well. Okay. Well, let's look at all the things.
Yeah. And let's look at what you're eating. Let's look at the water. And if you're sitting down you're getting ready for bed, and all of a sudden you realize you're thirsty. Well, you've had all day long to make sure you've had enough water. So don't deny yourself the water, because that's going to make it even worse. So you're going to be having some interruptions during the night, having to get up and go to the restroom.
Yep.
But if we're mindful of that, and I have my water or my tea, which is right here, that I am, making sure that I'm hydrating. I went for a walk this morning. I had my glass of water again as soon as I got back. So that was number 3. I had my lemon water first. I had water with my oatmeal. I had water after I came back from. So I'm making sure and being mindful that I'm looking at the day, and I want to, be prepared. And one of the things I love, I forgot who said it. They told me one time that sleep is the summation of your day. So what did you do today to get good sleep tonight?
Yeah. And so part of that also is movement.
Movement. Yes, you're perfect for that. Tell us about movement.
Yeah. So, I mean, I really talk, sorry, I had to put the puppy down. I talk with everybody about finding movement that, I'd say quote unquote moves them. I haven't found any one individual that has come across my path in the past 6 years of my work that hasn't had some way of moving their body that was enjoyable to them. Right. So the type of movement I'm not as concerned about as the consistency of movement. So if walking is your thing, great. If you like to run, that's me. Love that. It feeds me. Like, it feels great. It puts my body in a place of stasis, because then I'm automatically, like, I'm setting up habits upon habits. If I go for a run like I did this morning and sweat out, 500 milliliters of sweat, I'm definitely replenishing afterwards, and not just with water, but with electrolytes. Yeah. So if I have one habit, then other habits follow,
Yeah.
Maybe for another person, it's yoga or strength training, weights, or dance. There are so many different ways. Maybe it's tennis, or golf, like anything to get movement, and when I said golf, like, don't take the golf cart, walk.
Right. If you can.
Yeah. If you can.
Unfortunately, some of my husband's partners, they haven't looked at their body for the last 40 years. So guess what's happening now? They can't walk it. Yeah.
They would have to build back up. You couldn't start walking a whole 18 holes, but
exactly. Biteable steps.
Yes. Yeah. It's not 0 to 100 for anybody, for sure. We're all starting where we're starting and want to move the needle forward in the positive direction.
Yeah.
So, that movement, particularly whenever you're outside, and Lisa, you can tell us about this, with the sunlight and the pineal gland and melatonin that occurs. It's automatically going to give us more opportunity for a better sleep at night.
Yes, exactly. And what I do is I walk towards the sun during my morning walk so that the sun is getting in through my eyes. And I am doing this without sunglasses. I'm not trying to be, doing anything dangerous here. Okay.
Not staring at the sun.
I'm not staring at the sun like this, but I am letting it come in through my eyes because it is light and dark and temperature, by the way, that will regulate our sleep.
Mm.
So if I'm getting that sun through my eyes, it is filling up what we call our third eye, our pineal gland, okay? So it's filling that up, the daylight, because we are day and night creatures. We were meant to sleep during the night. First because it was dangerous to be walking about. We didn't have a home, or we were, maybe our ancestors really way back were in a cave, and there was danger out there. So we there's that. But we're getting that sun through the eyes so that we can fill that up. So around 8:30, 9 o'clock at night, I'm going to be secreting melatonin, and that is a sleep hormone. It's going to help me sleep better. It's called the sleep hormone, and that's its purpose. But I'm also getting outside. Like you said, I'm getting movement. It's the heat of the day, right? That also creates that energy in me, right? It's creating that energy, and I'm being exposed to the temperature of the day. Okay. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, we live in temperature controlled housing, where we work. And it was Matthew Walker. He is with, and I forget, so many departments and so many accolades behind his name, but UC Berkeley. And he's done, he's an author, and I love showing his, him and some other wonderful people talking about sleep. It's a video, The Science of Sleep. I show that every semester to my students at University of Richmond. And he talks about how they have studied indigenous tribes, okay? And they go to sleep around 8 or 9 o'clock when the sun's going down. So that's when they're going to sleep. But it's also when the earth is cooling down. Mm-hmm. So as the earth is cooling down, they're cooling down. So they're really in sync with nature. Mm-hmm. And that's something that we've kind of pulled away from. We are, when someone says, that they're out of balance, they're really, they've lost their connection to nature. They've mm-hmm. lost their connection to the sun, to the moon. By the way, the moon and the tides, very powerful. And again, we're water. So we're going to ebb and flow just like the tides do. Okay. So that's going to affect us. But all of these things, getting back to nature and really just getting back to ourselves and finding out truly what it is that makes us who we are. And really, that's the happiness that we're looking for that's so hard to find. You look at animals in nature and they're happy. Even in captivity, they're happy. Why? They're being captive. Well, some of them that are smaller, they feel safer. Mm. And they've been doing studies about sheep that are in pens versus the sheep that are just roaming. I'm not talking about the farms where, the chickens are kept inside, they never see the sun, and they don't eat bugs. That's, you don't necessarily want to eat something like that has no nutritional value whatsoever because they didn't get the energy from outside, okay? And if you are eating meat, then you want to make sure you know that source and where it's coming from. I like to know what farm it's coming from. Mm-hmm. Okay. And I ask the grocery store that I'm shopping at, Good Foods, or, I ask Wegmans, where do you get, this from? Mm-hmm. So I do my research because I want to know what I'm putting in my body energy-wise that's fuel mm-hmm. for this body. And then we talked a little bit about nutrition, but yes, that's the next step is, am I giving myself food that's devoid of nutritional value whatsoever? Mm-hmm. Does it have the minerals and the vitamins in it? And it's so interesting. I don't know if you eat eggs, but for people that eat eggs, if you look at your eggs, there are some eggs where the yolk is so pale, it looks just like this pale yellow. There's nothing nutritional value probably in that whatsoever. And guess what? I've compared them, and it was organic. I'm like, huh? So unless you're getting, pasture-raised eggs, these are hens that were outside, foraging. eating the bugs and getting what they needed from nature to make them healthy.
Yeah.
And am I eating things again that are, devoid of that? Where is that coming from? Hey, that's the garden. Like you're part of that garden now, right?
Mm.
So you're going to be able to eat the food from the garden that you've been tending.
Oh yeah.
How cool is that?
And it tastes incredible. I mean, I'm growing cherry tomatoes and small, like the sun gold tomatoes and a bunch of other things, and I mentioned those two specifically because they're the only ones that I've foraged fruit off of as of yet. Everything else is like green. It's sprouting, it's growing. But those are the only ones that have had ripe fruit come off of them yet. And I also have cherry tomatoes for my salads that I make typically for lunch at home here. And taste difference is incredible. I mean, fresh, right off the vine.
Yeah, right off the vine. Yeah. There's a sweetness to it. And for those who don't know, I'm like, Aubrey's half my age. So I remember when Hanover tomatoes, like 40 years ago, we would eat them. And they just were so sweet and delicious. And again, if you helped, farm them, they had an even more deliciousness to them. But I had one not too long ago, and I'm like, this is not the same Hanover tomato.
Aww.
It just doesn't taste the same. It's still good, but it's not like it was 40 years ago. So it's understanding, the farmers and the soil that they're farming from. And is this soil devoid of minerals right now? Are they replenishing those minerals? Is it an organic farm? Because they're going to be more conscientious of not having the chemicals in there, right? And so that's a different taste altogether. Yeah. So nutrition and how are we filling that nutritional cup up every day?
Yeah. Yeah. So kind of like, so a little bit of a segue here, nurturing nature, nurturing where our food comes from, but nurturing ourselves. So like all of these things tie together, right?
Yeah.
Very, very holistic concept here.
Well, it's the spirit, mind, body. It's the whole self.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's go on to number 2.
Okay.
I'll let you start, and I'd love to fill in. But we were talking about particularly nurturing ourselves first. So number 1 was self-care. Number 2 was nurturing ourselves first, not being able to pour from an empty cup. And you had a really great, I don't want to call it concept, but really great idea here to put in everybody's brains, in terms of connection and helping everybody out.
Well, yeah, it is so much better when we're all working this together, because I may have resources that you don't. Mm-hmm. You may have resources that I don't. And with, what we've started here through HEAL is all about the wellness neighborhood. Mm-hmm. And creating that synergy, creating that community that's going to be working together. The community farm, that was as part of this as well. And just, having a co-pilot here, someone I can reach out to. Hey, I'm not feeling good today. I'm feeling really depressed today. And I mean, do I have someone that I can reach out to? We all need that. We all need a partner here that we can reach out to. And this is all about the universal toolkit as well. What's in my toolkit today, and how can I, incorporate that into what I'm doing? We'll find people that have that like-minded mentality for sure. Find a community like HEAL, okay, like the wellness neighborhood, where I can go to and get this information that I need. Yeah. Or I can go to it and feel like that I'm supported. It's so important right now. I'm watching someone's post on Facebook, and she was talking about this 90-year-old woman, around 90, that was just having a really hard time, and because she couldn't see anybody. So she was so depressed, and she's thinking, why am I here? What is my life worth right now? I can't see, touch anybody. I can't hug them. I can't kiss them. And because of those hormones that we get, she's really feeling depressed. So what can we do to help motivate her? And this whole community now that we have, like what we're doing right now on Zoom, that we can be a part of. Why are we not incorporating that every day? I was reading to my grandchildren on the internet when it was so bad.
Aww.
Well, not the internet, but it's called Duo. I don't have an iPhone. So, but yeah, so I'm on this and I can see them and I'm reading them a story. That's what we need to make sure that we're connecting to. All right. Because our mental health and I don't like to make predictions like this, is really going to suffer. I'm not predicting it. They already are predicting that it's really going to suffer right now. We're already seeing it. So mental health is part of that nurturing too.
Yeah.
Okay. And my mental health being alone right now is probably not good. There are resources for me not to be alone.
Yes, absolutely. And I think, one of the things that we were talking about too is like, how many times throughout your day does someone just come to mind? Pop, like nowhere.
Yep.
Like,
yeah.
I know that you and I are not the only two in the world having that experience, so like
Yes.
if when that comes up, like contact them.
Contact them.
Pick up the phone.
Yeah.
Let them know that you're thinking of them, shoot a text, make a phone call, offer to schedule a FaceTime or a Zoom call or something, but 9 times out of 10, and I think sometimes the hesitation with that is, oh, so-and-so is probably dealing with X, Y, Z and the other. I don't want to bother them.
Yeah. Yeah.
But 9 times, like within that 9 times out of 10, they will probably love that you checked in with them.
And if they're older, think about that. That may be the only person that reached out to them that day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How important is that to yes, I appreciate you. And something we kind of skipped over here was, I hear you. Oh my gosh, if you could just say that, I'm listening. I understand.
Mm-hmm.
Golly, that's what we crave as human beings, to hear that every single day, that I have value here. Oh, wow. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Well, I appreciate you. How many times do we say that nowadays? I love you. And if you have trouble saying that might be something that self-care you need to go within. And maybe there's some forgiving you need to do. Start here first. Mm-hmm. And we have a resource for that. We'll be glad to put that in the comments. But it's called Ho'oponopono, and it's a Hawaiian prayer or meditation. And it's, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you, and I thank you. I mean, something as simple as that, telling them how much you appreciate and love them.
Yeah.
It could make the whole difference in their day.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And then, so we were talking about too, so that'd be like checking in with other people.
Yes. Yeah.
What about ourselves? Doing a personal check-in, how am I doing?
How you doing?
How am I doing?
I'm not. Joey from Friends, I love him. How you doing?
But in all honesty, in all of the areas of life, like emotionally, psychologically, physically, like how am I doing? And of course you have those concerns for the other, whoever you might have just reached out to, but definitely going within and just doing a check-in and saying, okay, how's everything going? Do I need to make some tweaks? That kind of a thing.
What emotions did I wake up with today?
Mm-hmm.
And how do they make me feel? Well, I'm feeling scared and kind of anxious right now. Oh, okay. All right. Well, what makes you feel safe, Lisa? Well, of course, my mom always made me feel safe. So family makes me feel safe and loved and makes me feel good. Okay. What else? My tea. Love my tea. Okay. Meditation. Okay. All right. So, I mean, it's just, we know what makes us feel good. We know when those feelings are like coming up to start, they're bubbling up and you're like, almost want to kind of throw up. They make you feel so bad. So it's where am I on that emotional scale right now? And what can I do about it? Well, there's a lot you can do about it. Okay. You can change how you feel.
Yes.
Well, that virus makes me scared. That virus is not making you scared. You're making yourself scared. Okay. You're creating the fear. I am. Yes, you are. Okay. You remember how to create happiness and feel good and feel safe and secure. So those are things we need to bring to mind right now. I'm, having trouble with that. Well, pull out one of your albums. Oh God, I'm really, I don't know who has those anymore, right? It's a physical album that I have. And I pulled it out the other day for my family came by, my nephew came by, my daughter, and he brought a friend, my nephew brought a friend, and then of course my grandchildren. And I pulled out the albums and we're showing them to him, and he was just loving it. And it was so much fun. And I said, here, take them with you. He goes, really? I said, yeah, take them and just have fun with them. Because what about you? I said, you know what? I've had 40 plus good years of these wonderful memories. And why don't you take them and have fun with them and look at them and go through them? So yeah, I mean, pulling out the books. And do you have a favorite book? How many times have you read it? Once? Go back and reread it again. It was your favorite book?
If you haven't read it within the past year, you'll read it again and get probably totally different, stuff.
It's like, wait a minute, did I read that? Yes, you did. Well, it's completely different now. Well, you're completely different now. You're not the same person you were when you first read that book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that, we were talking about that with like nurturing creativity and learning and like personal development,
Oh my goodness.
What are you feeding your inner self?
Yes. What are you feeding your mind?
Yeah, absolutely.
Fear and anxiety? Well, stop it. Stop it.
I had a personal example as well. And as part of the reason of the name of my company, it's the Well Personal Fitness, right? Because of that analogy of we essentially, we are wells also, like what we put in is what's going to come out, nutritionally. Hello.
I know, right?
Physical movement, mentally. What are we feeding our minds? What are we feeding our minds? What are we feeding our bodies? What are we feeding our spirits? Whatever that is what's going to come out. So if we don't like the results that are coming out, if we don't like what we're experiencing, well, then let's go to the source and figure out, okay, what do we need to tweak? It's not easy. It's not personal. It's just, hey, I don't like what I'm getting.
Yes.
Let's change it.
If it doesn't feel good, why are you still doing it?
Yeah.
Again, it's the emotions. That is their internal guidance system. Okay. And, where am I with this internal guidance system? How does it feel? Well, I don't feel good. Well, then change it. Right? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we were talking about a positive mindset.
Yes.
And this really ties in, piggybacks off of the last one where we're talking about, like actually the topic overall, period. What is it that we are looking to create and to experience? And a positive mindset really plays into peace, tranquility, joy, love, like all of those things.
Yes.
So, I would ask the objective question, to use this word twice in one sentence of what is your objective, and have you defined that? You know, I am a very, very big fan of journaling because it logs my internal conversations that could be in any number of crazy directions throughout the day.
Yeah.
You know, so if there is an important question like, what are my goals? What is my objective? What do I want? And then, you know, et cetera. We'll go into some more of these questions. Logging those down and being able to look at them later, you know, you're creating that concrete thought versus just kind of flowing. I have found a lot more success with writing. And, you know, so what is your objective? But number two, do you believe that it's possible? You know, do you want tranquility and peace? Do you believe that that is possible? I mean, honestly, truly, it's an honest question of just saying, hey, do you have some opposing beliefs somewhere within your brain, somewhere within your body that, well, I want tranquility and peace, but I don't know, you know, like my life has always just kind of been one of those where I get the short end of the stick.
Yeah.
Those kinds of beliefs, right? Are you holding on to any false beliefs that aren't serving you?
Yeah. And that's where, you know, again, you know, look at your resources where I use the Sedona method and the emotion code. And that really helps us to change or recalibrate those belief systems. Okay. They're not serving me. Okay. Then let's talk about that. Let's peel back those layers of that onion and figure out why you believe that way. Well, it's the way my parents taught me. Yeah. Okay, so we're all programmed. So do you like that program that's running? Okay. Do you like the movie that you're in right now that's going on? You're the main character. Do you like this movie or you don't? I really don't. Then why in the heck are you still using the same plot? Let's change that. Okay. Let's remove, release, and let go of those emotions that are attached to those events in our life that we're allowing that program to run.
Yeah.
And let's change all that. It is an open mind for sure. And I remember I was in a discussion on Facebook and I said something about you got to have an open mind here. And I was talking about Bruce Lipton, Dr. Bruce Lipton. If you don't know who he is, look him up. It's called The Biology of Belief. And, you know, I went ahead and talked about it and how important it was that, you know, to have an open mind, that our mind's like a parachute. It works best when it's open, to understand that our mind is in charge of the body. It's spirit, mind, body. And my mind is running the show. Okay, so my unconscious mind is running this. And the unconsciousness is all the stuff that I had learned in the past. And all the stuff I had been programmed. And our parents did a great job for the most part. They did what their parents taught them. Now it's my turn to be creative and to take this information that, you know, I've had all my life and you know, been using all my life. And if I want to use it, use it. If not, I'm going to use what we talked about and that personal development. I'm going to learn all I can about something that's totally not what I'm doing. Why? Because that's where my passion is. And I'm going to learn how to reprogram this mind that's been programmed. Sorry, I've got people like messaging me on Facebook. You're all during all this. You know, it's, and I actually, I wrote a blog about, you know, maybe I'm jumping the gun here about really communication. I think I am jumping the gun. So, you know, first I get people, the feedback I'm getting is, okay, how do I stop my brain that's so busy and get the roommate in there to shut up? Okay, because if you're telling me my unconscious mind is running this program or running this movie, how do I change the director right now? How do I change the script? Okay. What you do to stop a busy brain, there's a little acronym that I love using, and it's STOP. And that stands for stop. Okay. Stop what you're doing right now. Okay. Stop thinking about the past, thinking about the future. T stands for take 3 breaths. And I'm talking about full belly breaths, not short breaths up here in the chest. So I'm going to take 3 breaths. And O stands for observe what's happening in my body. I'm observing my breath, the situation, present moment. Am I present? Present moment awareness. Or am I still in the future, or I'm in the past? P stands for proceed with kindness and compassion.
Beautiful. Very helpful. Something that we can use often.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, just stop.
Mm-hmm.
So important.
And it reminds me too how we were talking about being solution minded, you know, and focusing on the solutions versus the problem, or the solution.
Yeah.
If there's only one, who knows? But you know, identify the problem. You know, it's the same thing. It's the stop method of identify the problem and then seek out solutions. And we were talking about the law of attraction. And I remember as a child, we did, my best friend, her family, and I were, for some reason, obsessed with PT Cruisers. Okay, so this is like late 90s, early 2000s kind of thing. And anytime the first one of us saw a PT Cruiser, you know, I don't know, pinched each other or punched each other or something ridiculous like that, lovingly, you know.
Yeah.
But it made us so aware.
Yeah.
You know, the number of PT Cruisers probably did not change week to week on the roads. Yeah. However, the more aware that we were about them, the more that we saw them.
Yeah.
You know, and that is a perfect example of the law of attraction. You know, if we are consistently like looking for the solutions, that's more often that we'll see the opportunities to grab them.
Yeah. Yeah. And, you know, I skipped over it. I was going to go into language. We're coming up on an hour, but, you know, and I love this quote by Masaru Emoto. And it says that if you feel lost, disappointed, hesitant, or weak, return to yourself, to who you are, here and now. And when you get there, you'll discover yourself like a lotus flower in full bloom, even in a muddy pond, beautiful and strong. You know, it's really about the language that we speak to ourselves and to others, because there's a lot of conflict going on right now. How you think and how you will interpret, it really does determine how you think and how you interpret everything. But language can be messy. Language is the first weapon we draw in a conflict. Do we understand the difference between a weapon and a tool? If all we're given to communicate is a hammer, then everybody else is a nail. If we must all endeavor to seek out what's called non-zero sum solutions, or a win-win for everybody. So it's all about that communicating and language. And if I have to change the way that the words are popping into my head, then change them. Well, that really is a little confrontational right now, or that really is a strong word. Then think about it before you say it and choose a different word. It's our wording that's so important, not only, again, for communicating with others, but communicating with ourselves. And why are we so hard on ourselves? Right? And, you know, you failed. Yeah, you know what? We're going to fail. And it's wrong to teach children that, oh, you won the game. No, we didn't. Look at the score. No, you lost the game. It's important to understand that I failed, okay? Because it's going to teach me how I'm going to succeed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And who was it? Not Einstein. The light bulb. Edison. He says, I didn't fail. What was it? 100 times. I found out 100 times how not to do this.
Yes.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So yeah, I know we're coming up here on time. But the fourth leg to this really that we were talking about was having, an open heart.
Yes.
So, we're talking about, number one, self-care. Number two, nurturing ourselves first. Can't pour from an empty cup. Number three, positive mindset. Number four, an open heart of just understanding, you were talking about earlier, our kind of cultural separation with nature and mending that, right? Because we're all connected, and that applies to humans as well. Going back to, I remember one of our conversations, we were talking about, like, if somebody comes to your mind, it's probably for a reason. They probably thought of you. Who knows? But you might find that to be very, very true, very often. But just, can you expand on that a little bit? Because I know we were talking about meditating for sure, and just holding that awareness that, who we are and what we do affects everybody around us, as does everybody else's beingness and actions.
Yeah. Well, really, and we probably don't have time to do the meditation, and I can, again, attach that in the notes, but it's all about really that inner peace. And if I don't, again, feeling myself first, and if I'm going to have an open heart to someone else, I certainly don't want that heart to be filled with hate. Okay. So it's really reconnecting to the heart center, yourself, the inner child. And I mean, it's part of our spirit, mind, body. And that inner peace, it's that high vibration state. And when we're in that state, the manifestation process is, so much, like you said, law of attraction. Guess what happens, when we're in that state? People come to mind when we're in that state. And the reason they're coming to mind is because they're in that same vibration you are. And that's the universe, by the way, reaching out to you. Are you going to pick up the phone and answer the call? How many of us are afraid to pick up the phone? Been there, done that. So yeah, it's being still. Well, I can't. Yes, you can. Take the word can't out of the vocabulary. Okay. Replace it with, and Yoda says, there's no try, only do. So try is not a good one either. But this is what is going to happen, okay, with these biteable steps that I'm doing. And I'm going to learn how to really reach in and open that door to my heart. Maybe I've closed it. So, and then that's how the meditation has helped me to heal, open my heart so that I can be loving and compassionate to others. First, because I did it with myself. And it's that self-love and that self-worth. I don't feel real worthy. Well, by George, then find something that makes you feel worthy. Okay. Well, I don't like my job. Okay. Well, then find something part-time you do love until you can make that your full-time job, if you want to call it a job. But it's a mission for me now. It's no longer a job. It's a mission. And I have gone inside and found, what is it you want? And do you know I couldn't answer that question a few years ago? Lisa, what do you want? I don't know. I found the answer, and I only found the answer through stillness and lightheartedness, like Deepak talks about, the light within, and being lighthearted with yourself first and loving yourself. And at one point, I'm not sure I really loved myself. So it's rediscovering who I am and what do I want, and then being able to go outside of that and offer that to others.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, it took me a lot of work to be able to define things like that, and also to learn to love my own self as well. Just, it wasn't, I don't know, it wasn't natural to me. It wasn't part of my operating system, if you will.
Yeah, there you go. Part of the operating system, which we can change we can change this movie anytime you want to.
Yes,
You can change the channel anytime you want to.
it's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you, yeah, will you share the links in
I
the,
will, and it's Inner Peace, and I'll be glad to share that. It's a beautiful meditation. It's a very short one too, by the way. So you can do this quickly. I've done it in between appointments, especially when there was a heated conflict and I needed to kind of cool down. There's that cool down again and lightheartedness to get me back in a good frame of mind so that I can continue my day.
yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yay.
Yay.
All right. Well, do you have any comments on your end?
No, I mean, we did a really good job at really highlighting every single thing that we had talked about that we wanted to incorporate today. So I'm just grateful that, we were able to get through all of this.
Yeah.
It was a lot of information. And again, if people want to know more, how can they contact us? So maybe we should do that.
Reach out. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I can, I'll post my contact information in the links. But my website for the Well Personal Fitness is thewellpf.com. That's as in the Well Personal Fitness, THEWELLPF.com. But I'll put everything in the.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can do that as well.
Yeah.
Our
I'm going to play on words.
We'll play on words there, but just remember the stop analogy, and don't push yourself. Just realize that there is a stop button and there's a go button, and just I've learned to say no to a lot of things. And these are people I love, but I realized that my cup was full, and that and full in the and then I guess the aspect that I really couldn't do any more or add any more to my plate.
Yeah.
So that's a different type of a full cup. But yeah, I just didn't want to empty it. And so I had to make a choice, and it's okay. Can't do that right now, but I would love to talk to you about that, doing that at another time. Yeah.
That's a beautiful way to put it. Yeah. Awesome.
Yay.
Well, Lisa, thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you for joining me.
Love you.
Love you too. Namaste, everybody.
Namaste, y'all.